On today's special episode of the Views from Section 400 podcast, we have our Bracketology special. Believe it or not, we're a month away from Selection Sunday. So for our third Bracketology of the year, we figured we'd do it live on the podcast, give you the rundown of why we rank these teams where they are in our bracket, maybe some sleeper picks, some teams we actually believe can win it all. It's all coming up next.
And just like that, we're back.
A16, turn me up.
Welcome into episode 245 of the Views from Section 400 podcast. We got a special one today. Jack's at kickball. We are a month away from Selection Sunday. So, Matt, I figured we might as well we do it every Tuesday normally, but why not on a Wednesday just do a live bracketology session for the people?
You know, we've been doing bracketology now for the better half of, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the number is. And, give the people a live look in on what goes behind the scenes, what goes on behind the scenes, and how we come to a conclusion and fun we have with it. And follow along as we go through the 1 seeds all the way up to the 16 seeds with our expert insight and analysis. Some say the best bracketology on the market. We'll go through and maybe not give our picks to win it all here, but the people will get a good idea. March is right around the corner. Those brackets, people have their method and their madness of how they want to pick the brackets. But this hopefully helps some people out come March to win some money in their respective pools.
Yeah, I don't have the exact percentage of our last. I think this is our third year doing this. Our first year was we started very late, but this year I'll definitely keep a tally of our final bracket and then see how it shakes out Selection Sunday because we've been pretty close the last couple of years. Definitely closer than Lenardi. Hate that guy.
Yeah, Lenardi's been off, and I've seen. There's been a couple other guys who have kind of branched into the bracketology game. I know Lenardi was the gold standard because he was the only standard for so long, and now it's good to see other people taking their stabs at it, and we'll see how it goes. But excited for this episode. We haven't given college basketball the spotlight really at all, so no better way than to dedicate a show.
Exactly, and it's going to be a sprint here to the finish. Just a quick peek behind the curtain how we do this every week. So we'll be referencing our bracket from last week and obviously making tweaks, and then we'll recap our seed line after each seed line we go through. And of course, if you want to see the full written bracket with my little prologue paragraph as well as a little snippet about each bubble team, you can check that out on viewsfromsection400.com. That'll be out the same time you're listening to this. So, just follow along on the website while you're listening. Get the double bracketology experience. But, Matt, our 1 seeds from last week, we already are going to have to shake this up a little bit because our number 1 overall seed, Arizona, has fallen twice in a row. Koa Pete is now hurt, and he wasn't playing too well before he got hurt.
I really would hate for us to be the reason of Arizona's downfall. And for the people watching at home, we had some clips loaded up, kind of glazing Arizona and how and they're still a really good team. The Koa Pete injury isn't great, but after we released that episode last week, Arizona fell twice in 1 week. The road games, whatever, it's on the road, but home loss to Texas Tech, who they're a scene with Toppin, by the way. I think he got injured. So,
he's out for the year.
Yeah, so that's a different scene. So they lost to them. We were glazing them, and I had them at the top of the mountain with Michigan, but unfortunately Arizona goes down twice after we highlighted them. So I hope the same doesn't go for Michigan, who's the new king of the castle.
Yeah, I think so. What I said, which would have started one of those clips that will be forever lost in the embers of time, will not see the light of day, was that Arizona could lose out and still be a 1 seed, and now they've gone out and lost twice in a row. And I still kind of believe that, But for now, I think we can both agree Michigan is our number 1 overall seed. Big win over
Yeah.
Purdue.
I was just big win over Purdue, and then did they or they haven't? I guess that was their first game of the week. But yeah, Michigan kind of set themselves apart. Arizona did them a favor by losing twice, but it was tough to kind of separate the two, Brian. When we were looking last week, we had both. I think we were in agreement, which is tough for us to do on this show, but we were in agreement that Arizona and Michigan, were the two best top two. Not that nobody's close, but nobody's with them. And it's clear that Michigan kind of set themselves apart. And I have, Michigan as not only a 1 seed, but the number 1 overall seed in the field.
Yeah, and I still have my doubts about Michigan just because the old head in me, they're a front court loaded team led by Yaxel, but their guards are shooting around 40% from 3, Elliot Cadeau and McKinney. I think Cadeau shoots over 40, McKinney's at like 38. So if they can hold that into March, this is a really good team, and they're deserving of the number 1 overall seed. They'll probably stay there for the rest of our bracketology at least.
Yeah, I think they're a team now, and dare I say lose out, but they're a team that if lose out, they got too much, man. Arizona, it's crazy how much clarity we got in 1 week with, okay, Michigan really is the real deal. And not that Arizona isn't the real deal, but there is a clear difference of 1 and 2. And, Michigan, like you said, very, very, front court loaded. But, dude, I think they had like 4 or 5 different guards that hit like 3+ threes against Purdue on the road. And how much I love teams that can win by double digits on the road. So Michigan going to be an overwhelming favorite in a lot of these bracket pools.
Very interesting matchup in my backyard in DC on Saturday. They're playing Duke, which I have my gripe about why that game is in the middle of conference tournament, or not conference season, but it'll be a test.
Yeah, middle of conference season. It's in DC, which I guess is I'm not even going to say it's close to Duke. Where do they play? Durham? Is Duke in Durham? No.
Durham, yeah.
Is it? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
They're in Durham and
UNC Chapel Hill. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know how far it is. I guess it kind of makes sense.
There's Dukies everywhere.
Yeah, there's Dukies everywhere. I don't know. I think I don't know. We'll see what happens. The cheapest ticket was like $500.
Yeah, it's going to be an expensive game to attend, and I have a whole nother tangent I could go on about that. But for the sake of time, we can stay on the topic of Duke because our last 2 1 seeds in our last bracketology were Houston and UConn. UConn, I think they're going to be safe as that last 1 seed in, just because the Big East is so bad. They're going to keep winning. I kind of compared them to the Patriots just with their schedule, and they're just going to beat the teams in front of them. Now, we did have Houston, who lost to Iowa State in a very good game. Duke, on the other hand, has just been running through the ACC. We have them as our best 2 seed. So are we ready to flip Duke and Houston, put Duke on the 1 line?
Well, here's the thing. Are we saying with Arizona losing twice and Koa Pete injured, we're removing them from the 1 line?
I still think we have Arizona safely as the second best team, even though they've lost twice.
Yeah. And do we have a status on Koa Pete? Because if he's not playing in the tournament, that significantly hurts them, obviously.
I don't think it's serious. He's not playing tonight as we're recording this against BYU. That's also a home game, and BYU has its own issues. Just lost Richie Saunders for the year. So they should be able to get by without him there. It may just be they're taking a cautious approach with him.
This is a tough one. Houston battled. Iowa State was clearly a very tough place to play. I have my doubts with Duke. For the sake of keeping it interesting, and is there selection committee bias with Duke? Does Duke get the favorable seeds and matchups?
I think a little bit of that, and also if Duke wins both the ACC regular season and tournament, and then Houston doesn't beat out Arizona in the regular season and then maybe doesn't win the tournament, they're gonna go with the double champ there. And
Yeah.
that's where my brain's going.
Okay. I like the flip there. So let's go Duke on the 1 line, and we'll go Houston on the 2 line, which it's, nice to see that we kind of have to have a conversation about it. Other than I think last year we were pretty comfortable down the stretch for a 1 line. No.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking like, and rightfully so, those 1 seeds were easily the 4 best teams, and they were going to
Right.
run the table, and they did. And I can't really say, especially with Arizona now, I can't say besides Michigan, any of these other 3, they could easily
No.
get knocked off before the Final Four.
Yeah, we love to see the parity at the top of the bracket.
All right, so there's our 1 line. Michigan is the number 1 overall seed. Arizona, Duke, and UConn rounding that out. Now we go to the 2 line, leading off with Houston, who flipped with Duke. And our other 2 seeds last week were Michigan State, Iowa State, and Nebraska.
So I'm fine with, obviously we have Houston. They're not going to drop from 1 to 3. So Houston's fine. Michigan State's fine. They're not going to drop. They had a nice home win against UCLA. Iowa State stays. People maybe argue with us saying Iowa State should go where Houston was over Duke, but I agree. Duke as a double winner. We'll see how it plays out, but Duke is a double winner. And the bias, I feel like the selection committee is going to side with Duke before they side with Iowa State. I think everything stays the same here other than Nebraska. How is this team in the top 10? Who have they put? I watched them play last night at Iowa. I understand it's a road Big Ten matchup. I was not even remotely impressed by this team. And I haven't watched a lot of Nebraska basketball this year. I don't know if they're missing anybody, but I was shocked and stunned that this team is a top 10 team. And I can't wait to fade them in the first and second round of March Madness.
Yeah, so Nebraska got Drake. Iowa plays the same brand of basketball as Drake does. Obviously, their coach came over. Bennett Sturs, who's just been unbelievable, came over. He's averaging 20. I think the next highest player on that team's averaging 10.7, and then no one else is in double figures for Iowa. So they just play an ugly brand of basketball, but they play the brand of basketball that your grandfather loves, where it's slow, it's methodical, they strap up on defense, and Nebraska wants to run. They don't want to play that. So it's just a terrible matchup for them. But I also agree, Nebraska it feels like it's too early. They feel like a little bit like Indiana last year, where they were good in the regular season, didn't really play anybody, but it's too early for them to make a run.
And they don't have he's almost like a forward, number 21, the white guy, which they throw a lot of white guys out there. Whoever
They
number
love
20,
the white guys with long hair.
Yeah, I forget the number 21 guy. But he seemed like their go-to scorer when they needed a bucket. And I just wasn't like, for a team that was so lights out and like in the top 10, 2 losses on the year before last night. I was trying to find, I'm like, all right, there's somebody's going to take over. Somebody's going to be here and that team just not look built for March whatsoever.
No, and I love Fred Hoiberg. I think he's going to set that program in the right direction, and he already is, but
yeah,
it just feels
too early. Way too early. So I'm fine removing them. I think we should have no problem putting Florida in as a 2 seed.
Okay, I was going to say that was my next question. Are you ready to accept Florida, the possibility of them going back to back with me? And it seems like you're back on the wagon.
Absolutely. I still think the team last year was better, but they still have the bigs from last year. Who was the transfer? The Asian kid from Princeton? That kid's been lights out.
Yeah, Xavier Lee, I want to say is his name.
He's been awesome. So
he struggled early shooting the ball, but now he's been really, really good. And if he can shoot well, that's a scary team.
You just need to get hot down the stretch. So I'm cool with putting Florida in as a 2 seed. There have obviously been there, done that. Not too early for them. I'm cool with Illinois. I'm cool with Kansas.
Before we get to the 3 line here, let's recap the 2.
Houston, Michigan State, Iowa State, Florida.
Yep. So that'll be our
That's-
two, and that's like it seems like a strong two line there, but it's a lot of parity this year. There, all those teams we've seen suffer really bad losses. Iowa State,
Oh, yeah.
TCU, Michigan State just lost to Wisconsin. Houston's been on and off, and Florida, of course, lost to Auburn, who is trending towards not making the tournament now.
You're exactly right. But for now, solid two line. I know I just said about how Arizona, or maybe not Arizona, or Houston going from 1 to 3. It's probably harsh, but there's no way Nebraska goes from 2 to 4, do they?
No, I think once we get past this two line, it really becomes
it drops off a little bit.
And I think we have to reward Nebraska's resume. They have the quad one wins. They have the overall wins. They don't have that many bad losses. They seem safely at 3 right now. Now, that could change. They could go on a nosedive here.
And I know I'm ripping on them, but, Iowa was hovering right around that top 25, I think ranked at 25 at one point. So is a road Iowa loss that bad?
Yeah, it's a quad one loss. Iowa's going to be a tournament team. It's not like they went out there and lost to Memphis on the road.
Right. I was like, as much as I'm killing them, there could have been a lot worse losses in the Big Ten.
Much worse. Yeah, they could have lost to Rutgers or
Could
Penn
have lost to
State.
Rutgers, could have lost on the road to Washington, God forbid Northwestern. I was,
Northwestern did give Iowa a game the other, I think it was last week.
Yeah, well, I don't care. Northwestern stinks.
All right, so our 3 line now, we have Nebraska, we have Illinois, who suffered they had some tough luck. Virginia Tech's been the unluckiest team in college basketball this year, but Illinois back-to-back overtime losses, Michigan State and Wisconsin. They're still a really good team, though. And then we also have Kansas there, who is led by a guy that hates basketball and decides not to play.
Does he actually hate basketball, or is the internet just running with a false narrative?
It's very strange. I think now,
can we narrow this down, or are we just running with something that isn't true? Because I keep hearing that, and for the life of me, why the hell would the guy hate basketball? I mean, do we have our next Ben Simmons on our hands?
I think his agent and people advising him are just trying not to make him the next Ben Simmons or the next Greg Oden. And they're so just like they're focusing in on the fact he has to stay healthy, where that could be the detriment of Kansas. Where what if they go to a Sweet 16 game and his ankle's hurting a little bit? He might sit out. I don't think he really cares.
No, I haven't paid attention enough. I've just, again, in the age of social media and being connected online, that's the narrative that got pushed to the top and has been. And again, maybe the guy's not doing himself any favors, but who really knows what's going on?
Yeah, it's impossible to tell. But so I think Kansas is safely there. They did have a big win over Arizona. I think that was Arizona's first loss of the season.
Yes.
That Kansas win.
Was it? Because it might have been. You're right. It might have been.
So Kansas is safely there. If Peterson plays the whole March Madness, they could easily win it all. That's the big question. Is he going to play?
Yeah, is he going to play? The odds will be marked accordingly. You'll probably see really good value on Kansas, but you'll have to proceed with caution because you don't know if you're going to get the best player on that team.
Yeah, and then the question becomes, we have 2 other Big Ten teams here, Purdue and Illinois. I think Illinois, that offense is just too good to not be a 3 seed. They feel like the 3 seed once we see the bracket in March. So I'm okay
cool with I'm cool with Illinois because you have to start to think. People will say, oh, well, they lost twice and bad loss here, bad loss, whatever. But then you have to start to look at, okay, well, then who replaces them? Who do you fill in for them? And I still think is when you start asking that question and thinking down that low, I can't find a team necessarily that I like over Illinois. I know Virginia's been playing well. Texas Tech, if they didn't lose their best player, Obi Toppin, or is it Obi Toppin? Whatever his name is.
Jacob,
Toppin.
Younger brother of Obi.
Right. So Jacob Toppin, if he was still there, I'd have
JT.
no problem. JT, we're all over the place.
Jacob I think he played for UNC.
Either way, if Toppin's not done for the year, I have no problem flipping that. But with that look, I mean, that's just Texas Tech was a team I was thinking, holy shit, this team can make a huge run. And now I'm like a full 180.
Yeah. It's hard. I don't think we can really put Texas Tech down, but it's hard to raise their ceiling when they lose their best player.
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is regardless of, did they lose twice this week? Is that what you're saying?
They lost, I believe they won an easier game after they lost twice in overtime. Let me just double check. They go to USC tonight as we're recording. So yeah, they blew out Indiana after back-to-back overtime losses.
Yeah, I'm still fine with Illinois there at the 3 line.
Okay, so then our next question becomes here. You mentioned Virginia. We have them as our top 4 seed right now. We have Purdue as our worst 3 seed.
Are we leaving Nebraska at 3?
We're leaving Nebraska on the 3 line. Purdue is such a weird team to me. And I think I finally figured out why besides Matt Painter, why I just don't really believe in Purdue. Braden Smith is a phenomenal college basketball player, probably one of the best college basketball players we've seen since like 2000. Right. But he is an exceptional facilitator and a good scorer. And that's why I feel like Purdue's just not going to hit their ceiling. Like, you want that guy to be the other way around. You want like a Walter Clayton, a Shabazz Napier, or Kemba Walker that's going to score first and then make his teammates better. We saw in the whole first half of the game against Michigan, Braden Smith had 0 points. He was passing the ball, probably because Matt Painter told him to. But you got to take that game over, and I don't know if Smith can do that in March.
I think that's fantastic analysis on that, and I agree completely. Fantastic college basketball player. Awesome college basketball player, and there's a reason he's had great success with Purdue for so many years in the regular season. And I think they had maybe a Sweet 16, definitely an Elite 8 run when they lost
Final
to St.
Four
Peter's
with Zach Edey, but it was because Zach Edey was there and Smith could get Edey open and get him the ball.
So again, but this isn't that Zach Edey team. I mean, this is a worse version of that. Can they make some noise if the bracket and matchups fall their way? Sure, but home. They made the score a little respectable against Michigan, but I mean that should have been a 20-point blowout loss. So I have no problem dropping Purdue off the 3 line. Who we replace them with? St. John's would be somebody I look at. Virginia has been surging of late.
I really like Virginia. This isn't your normal Virginia Tony Bennett team. I mean, they've won 11 of 12. They're scoring 81 points a game. Their 2 best guards are guys they brought over from San Francisco, Malik Thomas and Sam Lewis from Toledo. Those are programs that score the ball. It's a fun Virginia team, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be surprised when we get to March. And it's like Virginia likes to shoot threes. They like to play fast. They're not playing like an Iowa team.
Yeah, I agree. And they're not that slow, boring,
Yeah, they're fun.
Win the game by scoring 50 points.
It's a very fun basketball team, but I feel like it's the kind of team you want when March Madness comes around.
All right, so Nebraska, Illinois, Kansas, Virginia.
I like that as our 3 line.
So then, obviously, no way Purdue drops to the 5th.
No,
they will be our top 4. Virginia on the 4. Vanderbilt and St. John's, I think I'm fine with keeping them.
Vanderbilt has a kid, Tyler Nickel, shooting 44% from 3. White guy. He is going to piss so many fan bases off once we get to the tournament season. It feels like he can hit 5 threes in a row from the corner and not miss. And he's such an annoying. I'm sure Vanderbilt fans love him, but that kid alone is going to cause problems for other teams in March. I love him as a 4 seed.
How comparable to Ole Miss legend Marshall Henderson?
No, I know because Marshall was so loud about it. Nichols just like that silent assassin type. He'll sit in the corner and nail a three, get a steal, get a block, get an and one. It's just annoying.
Right. Marshall Henderson could score at will with those crazy threes and then also threw it in your face.
Yeah.
What a player though. I mean, that was fun. I remember was it sophomore year of high school watching that, staying up watching Big Monday, Super Tuesday, and just him on the road against at Vanderbilt. I still go back and watch those clips. I mean, that was unreal.
Yeah, thank God that was then and not like 4 years later when I was an Auburn fan and I would have had to deal with him.
Yeah, I mean, he pissed a lot of fan bases off because he was good and, like I just said, loud about it.
All right. So our last 4 seed here, Texas Tech is on our 4 line. They beat Arizona, ended Arizona its second loss. I know Toppin's out for the year, but it's hard for me to drop them yet. I think I would feel good about keeping them on the 4 line, kind of knowing that they're replaceable there. But for now, if they take care of business,
keep them on the 4 line with an asterisk.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with them because it's like, all right, they won their games. They had some huge wins. As it stands right now on February 19th, 2026, Texas Tech is on the 4 seed. But we know March doesn't start February 20th. So we'll take that with what we know, and we can see Virginia Tech maybe slip here. Maybe they don't. But it's going to be tough when you lose your best player.
Yeah. So there are 4 line is Purdue, Vanderbilt, St. John's, Tech. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Now we get to our 5 seed, and the
That's
5 line.
Messy.
This 5 line might be my favorite ever since we've been doing this, just because it feels like these are all true 5 seeds in March. Like obviously the 5-12 upset, which I guess the 6-11 has kind of become the new 5-12. But the 5-12 was the original upset you always look at. I could see every single one of these 5s losing to a 12. I could also see every single one of these 5s making a run. Those 5s that we had last week are Clemson, North Carolina, Gonzaga, and Arkansas.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. All 5 of these teams, or all 4 of these 5 seeds could lose. And I see it a lot more appealing to pick an upset here, multiple upsets here on the 5-12 than in years past. So if there's any year to be a 12 seed as one of these really good mid-majors, or I don't know, do they give at-large bids to 12 seeds? Not sure, but this is the year to do it in my eyes.
Yeah, and we'll get to the 12s later, but there's some fun teams on our 12 line, at least from last week. We'll see if they stick there this week. In terms of movement here, I don't know if we'll really see any. Arkansas had a big win against Auburn. Darius Acuff he's the type of guy that could lead you through March, averaging 21 and a half.
I think the only question here, Brian, is do you penalize Gonzaga for their road loss to a bad Portland team? And where does UNC stand? They lost to NC State and have two pretty big injuries right now. How long is out for?
Yeah, Wilson, it's hard to tell. I think his again is kind of like Pete's, where they're being cautious with it. And it's kind of easier to be cautious and not at so great of an ACC. But then again, they did just lose to NC State, a game NC State really needed. Now, if we take an early look at the 6s here, it's like Tennessee, Louisville, Alabama. I don't know if any of those teams have shown they're better than who we have on the 5. Like North Carolina beat Duke. That's one of the best wins in the country. Right. Gonzaga has some big wins, even though they've have bad losses, but they did just beat Santa Clara, which who would have thought that's a big win now. Arkansas has been solid. Clemson's getting the job done, even though they just lost to Duke. It's hard to penalize any of these teams.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of Tennessee, even at the 6th line, so you're not going to see me want to bump them up to 5. BYU, if anything, would drop. Louisville lost yesterday or 2 nights ago against, I think, not a great team, right?
They lost to SMU. SMU is a tournament team.
Oh, SMU is solid. SMU is solid. They are solid.
They did beat Baylor on the road. They scored 118 against NC State. That's the game that made Will Wade lose his mind.
What is 118 comparable to in the NBA?
I think that's 150, 160, 150, 160.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for college, but didn't mean to sidetrack you.
Yeah, that's a whole. That scored 62 points in the second half.
Yeah, it's insane.
I
score in a game.
I think maybe, for real, it was more than Iowa and Nebraska did in the game we just talked about.
Yeah.
Maybe we can move Louisville ahead of a Gonzaga, but Gonzaga has the quad one wins that I think will put them out on the 5. So I think this 5 line is fine where it is.
First untouched line. I'm cool with that just because I want to see the upsets too.
Yeah, and we'll get some movement here soon because there's some teams. We have Wisconsin on the 10 line, and they're going to need to make some headway.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so our 5 line locked in with Clemson, North Carolina, Gonzaga, Arkansas. Now we go to the 6, which we just kind of talked about, but we have Tennessee, BYU, Louisville, Alabama. Biggest story here, BYU loses Richie Saunders, their best three-point shooter. Also an annoying white guy. Still have DeBanson, though. I mean, it's hard.
Is BYU another leave them there with an asterisk just because, they'll probably drop another game or two and, most likely Banson's a great player, but he's not good enough to carry them to a Big 12 title, right?
I don't think so, no. I mean, they've struggled with some teams.
Right.
Now, what we could do here is if they somehow knock off Arizona on the road tonight, maybe they go up to a 5 for some reason, but I just don't see that happening.
No, I don't either. That's
so
what is I think it's tough because as we're recording this, Tennessee plays tonight, BYU plays tonight, Louisville just had a loss to SMU the other night. This is a tricky line just because it's whatever we pick, I'm sure the opposite will happen.
Yeah, and there's a lot of just weird. There's no dominant team right now in college basketball, which is why. I mean, Tennessee's been really good, which makes me kind of want to. I don't want to drop Tennessee. I don't want to drop BYU. I think Louisville's been fine. And then it comes down to Alabama, who have been okay. But then if we go to our 7 line, there's no team there that I really want to put above Alabama unless, and we can finally talk about your Villanova Wildcats here, unless we want to sneak them ahead of Alabama.
I don't know why Villanova is not on the 6 line, Brian.
Okay, well then here's the question now is, does Villanova take the spot of a Tennessee or an Alabama? Because I think BYU and Louisville are safe on the 6.
It's so tough because putting the bias away, it's just I don't know. Is Bama and Tennessee are ranked, probably have a little bit of a tougher schedule, which is why it's how can you take that? 7 does feel good for Nova. 6, as much as I want to put them at 6, and, for the sake of my bias, maybe we do, but a 7-10 matchup seems kind of right on par. And if they knock off a St. John's in the semifinals of the Big East Conference tournament and then lose to UConn in the championship game, that maybe catapults them up to a 6, maybe a 5, depending on how everything else shakes out.
Yeah, it's if we just want to look at net rankings, Tennessee is 21, Bama's 19, Villanova comes in at 29. So just by that, it's kind of easier just
Where's
to keep
BYU and Louisville?
BYU's at 20, Louisville is at 15.
Okay.
So they are significantly
So did we just answer our question there by trying to move Villanova up and maybe there is no movement at all?
I don't think there is any movement there. I think Villanova is safe as the 7. So then our 6 seeds, I think, are pretty safe to lock in.
BYU, Louisville, and Alabama.
Yes.
Which, if anything, you're quick to usurp Alabama from this line.
Yeah, I normally am. But I think here they deserve to stay there.
I think so. And, as much as you hate Alabama, you're a huge Nate Oates guy.
I hate Nate Oates too. I liked him at Buffalo. I liked
Come
him at
on,
Buffalo,
man.
not so much at Alabama.
What was the Rico from Barstool rant when they were going
Rico
off?
Bosco.
And he just ends it with, Nate Oates goes to church. Oh, I think it was the Brandon Miller gun thing.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
it was something with that. I don't know. Either way, it was pretty funny rant. But yeah, I think we're safe there, Bri, with the 6 line. Kentucky faltered at home last night, 2 nights ago. No?
Yeah, Kentucky's been very inconsistent, but that also just feels like a 7 seed here. But then, okay, so we'll get into our 6th line before we get into the 7s.
Go over the 6 line.
Tennessee, BYU, Louisville, Alabama. So now we get to our 7 line, which last week was Kentucky, St. Louis, who just suffered their first A10 loss, but they still feel like a 7 seed, assuming they win both the regular season and the
Who did St. Louis drop?
Rhode Island on the road.
That's horrible.
Wasn't great. It's a quad 2 loss, but they still have enough good wins. They have 2 losses on the season now. I think
what are some of their good wins?
All right, let's pull up their net ranking real quick.
Do they have any good ones?
Like, they do. So their quad 1 wins are Santa Clara and VCU. Quad 3, they've beaten Grand Canyon, Duquesne, and Davidson. And their 2 quad 3 losses are Stanford and Rhode Island. They're 7-0 in quad 3. San Francisco's one of those wins. And 11-0 in quad 4. So, I mean, they're 24-2 on the season. They're 22nd in net.
I'm not saying we got to move them. Because, again, whenever you want to judge a team on the previous week and say we're moving them out, it always goes back to, well, who do you replace? And there's nobody. Are we throwing Auburn up there?
So, no. I think there are some teams on the 8 line that I want to get on the 7 line. Iowa, I believe, deserves to be a 7.
Iowa, after their win last night, and I know how I feel about Nebraska, and sure it's a good win, but I'm not confident in Nebraska. I don't know how they snuck their way all the way up there this year. But Iowa, I do like on the 7 line. I just don't know who they overtake. A&M?
Yeah, A&M has been.
Kentucky has been wobbly.
Kentucky's been a little better than A&M. So for now, A&M will drop down. A&M might fall down more, but for the sake of this,
I didn't even realize they were all the way up here.
Yeah, they had some big wins. But they've not been consistent. It's more the teams just haven't been able to take advantage to get up from the seed lines. But Iowa certainly did this week, so I have no problem putting Iowa there. So then on our 7 line right now, we'd have Iowa, St. Louis, Villanova, Kentucky.
I like that.
All right. So I'll lock it in. We'll go to our 8 line. And this is where the NC State kind of fiasco, I guess is the right word, comes up because they weren't even in our field. But they have been shooting up the net rankings. They've had some big wins. Obviously, they lost to Louisville by a gazillion points. But
what are the big wins here?
So NC State is 25th in net, which feels high until you look at their wins. They've beaten Clemson. They've beaten SMU on the road. Both those games were on the road. They beat North Carolina. And they beat Wake Forest on the road, which is a quad 1 win. Now they have 6 quad 1 losses. They also have 8 quad 2 wins. They're 8-1 in quad 2. They beat VCU. They beat Boise State. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Florida State. They beat Virginia Tech. They beat Syracuse. So they have wins. They're 10-4 in conference, 19-8 overall. This feels like an 8 seed to me.
Yeah, but who are we knocking here?
Either Georgia or Auburn.
Georgia, I don't know enough of. They just beat Kentucky, so maybe you knock Auburn. Not to kick
No, I think I'm okay with
kick
that.
Auburn while they're down, but
I am totally okay with that. And
I think it's fair, Bri.
yeah, to be clear, to make the spot here for NC State, I've been getting cute with it and being fun and having Akron in our field. Miami, Ohio is just, they continue to not lose. So I'm starting to not see why Akron can unseat them in the MAC tournament.
Yeah.
So we don't need to get rid of any teams here besides just the fact Akron and the MAC's going to be a one bid league. So that's how NC State's getting into the field.
Works for me. Where are they going? 8 seed?
Yep, 8 seeds. So our 8 seed, then we have NC State,
UCF or
we
NC
have
State,
UCF,
Georgia,
Georgia.
and Texas A&M.
That feels right to me.
Or did we miss something there?
No, because we dropped Texas A&M from 7, and they feel like they just dropped to an 8. I don't think they fall more than that.
Right. And then Auburn. Well, basically now we just need to replace Auburn. Well, NC State goes where Auburn is in 8. Right?
Yep.
So it's UCF, Iowa, Georgia, either NC State or Texas A&M.
Iowa moved up to a 7.
Iowa moved up. There you go. So I was up to 7. So, Bragg, tell the people the 8 seeds now that we have it.
All right, our 8 line now is NC State, UCF, Georgia, and Texas A&M. And now we go to our 9 line, and this is
now
where
you judge, does Auburn just stay at 9?
I think they do for now. Now, if for some reason they lose to Mississippi State, it is a road game tonight as we're recording this. If they lose that game, I will swallow my pride, and unfortunately, the Auburn Tigers will fall to our last 4 in on the bubble.
Do they go into a bubble game?
I think for now. They have so many good
Are
wins.
They making a quick trip to Dayton, Ohio?
They have so many good wins, which is why it's hard, but like you can only lose so many in a row before you have to flirt with that bubble.
Yeah.
I do think they win tonight, but for now, they're 9. But they will fall in the bubble if they lose to Mississippi State.
And the wins are months ago, and they're
Florida wasn't that long ago.
Let's say not a synonym, but what would the definition be for the opposite of a word? What's the opposite for peak?
Valley.
I guess. So that would be what Auburn. They're not peaking at the right time. They're valleying. Wow, that's a tough one to say. Valleying at the wrong time. Peaking at the right time, valleying at the wrong time. That's
the issue with Auburn is they've played 11 games outside of quad 1, and they're 10-1 in those games. They're 4-10 in quad 1. And their wins are good. They have St. John's, NC State.
Yeah, but Brian, their
Arkansas.
wins are 3 months ago.
Arkansas and Florida were recent, relatively recent. NC State and St. John's were a while ago.
And that was when NC State was losing the teams by 40.
Yeah, they're 9 for now. NC State was still ranked when that game happened.
You are just hanging on by a thread over there.
All right, Auburn's a 9. Auburn's a 9.
I should say Auburn is.
Yeah. All right. So then our rest of our 9 line. Last week we had Indiana, UCLA, Utah State, and USC.
I love Utah State when they play at home. Unfortunately, there's 0 March Madness games played at home. So, with that being said, I'm not going to buy the juice on them. I do it every year. They're always in that 7-10 matchup as a 10 seed. I always pick them, and they always lose. So, not picking that, but I do love their team. Feel good at a 9. I'm trying to think on if there's anybody from the does Miami of Ohio jump to a 9 seed? They might, Brian.
I think they might. I'm also looking at this and realizing we had Wisconsin on the 10 line. They need to jump up heavily. They've had some great wins. So what
But
I'm
they
going
also
to
just
do
got
here,
blown out in Columbus last night to Ohio State.
they did, but again, I feel like the selection committee just rewards good wins more than bad losses.
And it was on the road, so it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, so what I want to do, if you're okay with it, is go back to this 8 line here and move Wisconsin to the 8, A&M to the 9, Auburn down to the 10.
I'm cool with that. I don't love Wisconsin at the 8, but I don't think there's any other way to really slice it.
All right. So then we have.
Or is there any way to flip somebody from has Indiana been surging enough? Had a win against Purdue at home to put them at an 8 and Wisconsin at a 9? Or do you take Wisconsin over Indiana?
I think I tread towards Wisconsin over Indiana. Nick Boyd has been in college basketball for like 10 years, and he feels like he gets the edge there.
Saying that out loud and thinking about it, I'm not a Wisconsin believer here, but if it's just down to those two teams, Wisconsin definitely gets the nod, regardless of not looking great against Ohio State. Which, speaking of Ohio State, are they playing their way into an at-large bid?
Yeah, so they were on our next 4 out, not even mentioned in our bracketology. They definitely need to be on the bubble now, and we'll get to the bubble soon because it's coming up here.
I mean, they're a team that I could see playing in Dayton, Ohio, on Tuesday night or Wednesday night.
Yeah. Okay, so on our 9 so far, we have A&M, Utah State, Indiana. Now, UTLA and USC are on our 9 line. They've both struggled. We have Texas, who has been good enough to get off the bubble in the first 4 right now. We also have St. Mary's on the 10 line. I think we move Texas off our bubble, and that's what gets Iowa State onto the bubble.
Iowa State?
Ohio State. Ohio State.
I like it.
So Texas will move in as that final 9 seed. So to
Works for
recap
me.
the 9 line there, we have Texas A&M and Texas, Utah State, and Indiana.
Feels good. Well, Indiana will be interesting. I want to keep monitoring that because they've surged and peaked, and then also have been really shaky. So they've been hot and cold, and they came. Tucker DeVry and the coach, they were Drake, or was that Indiana State?
That was Drake, and then, yes,
they were the Drake duo.
And they went to West Virginia.
Where'd the Iowa guy go to?
He was Drake.
No. Wait, what?
2 different Drakes.
How?
So the first Drake guy left for West Virginia.
But
And
they
then
were
they
all on the
hired-
same team, right?
No.
Tucker DeVry and that coach on Indiana right now. Where did they come from?
Drake, West Virginia, Indiana.
And then the Iowa coach and the Bennett Stitz guy.
They were Drake to Iowa.
So
2 different Drake dynasties.
When did Tucker DeVry and that coach was on West Virginia?
Yeah, last year.
I do not remember that.
Tucker got hurt pretty early.
Oh, okay.
State of college basketball.
I didn't know there was a gap in there.
Yeah. Drake had 2 separate mini dynasties.
Yeah, they really did, dude. Holy shit. Two power 5 Division I coaches now.
Yep. All right. So yeah, 9 line A&M, Texas, Indiana, Utah State. Now we get to our 10 line. Wisconsin's gone. Texas is gone. They were in a first 4 game. So we have Miami, St. Mary's, our first 4 game between San Diego State and a team to be named later.
Miami of Ohio, where did they go?
They were on our 11 line. So do we want to move them up to 10?
They have to go up to. I mean, dude, they're I'm probably going to fade them round 1 because they haven't played anybody good and they're winning tight, close games. And sure, they're pulling out the wins. Sure, it's impressive to be 26-0 or whatever they are. But this team will lose. It's what it is.
Yeah, they feel like they're a great story, and I could definitely see them winning a first-round game, but I don't see anything after that. And I'll probably fade them just because so many people will pick Miami, Ohio in the brackets.
Well, so many people are just going to be like, "Oh, this team's undefeated and they're a 10 seed," and they're going to pick them.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, like, imagine Nova versus Miami of Ohio in a 7-10 first-round matchup. Like, Nova's winning that game.
Yeah, I would take Nova in that easily.
They are a stronger team than Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio, so many tough games. I mean, Kentucky versus Miami of Ohio. Are you taking Kentucky or Miami of Ohio?
Kentucky. Easily. Just
Like
because
these
the
they're just
physicality.
stronger. The physicality, it's strong. Like it's so much.
Okay. So Miami, Ohio is safely in there at 10. I think St. Mary's the same thing. They feel like they'll be a 10. They might be able to move up to a 9 or 8, depending on chaos in front of them. But for now, they feel like a safe 10.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Maybe they sneak into an 8-9 matchup, but if there was no. I mean, do they have any quad one wins? 26-0. How many are quad one?
I don't think so. If
Do they have a single quad one win?
the only quad 1, I believe, would be if they played Akron on the road, but I don't think they have.
You were pulling it up all show.
So they did. They beat Akron at home, and that is now a quad 1 win. No, that's quad 2. That is quad 2.
There's no way it's a quad one.
Yeah, so if they play Akron on the road, which I don't think they do. Now, if they play Akron on a neutral site in the MAC championship, that would be a quad 1. So that would be their
Which is
first
like,
quad 1
is
win.
that really though?
Akron's a solid team. Akron's ranked
But,
60th in net.
you just said that Akron has to beat out Miami of Ohio to get a bid.
They do, but it's still a quad 1 because they're 21-5 and they're 12-1 in the conference. It would be as long as
It feels very cupcake.
it does, but they've beaten the teams in front of them. And if they go undefeated in the
I
regular
know,
season, they'll
and
win
it is impressive. It is impressive. It is impressive. Absolutely. But I will not buy the juice on this team in March.
I probably won't either. All right. So then we get to our first
Sorry
games.
for everybody who wants the Cinderella magic.
So our first 3 10 seeds are Miami, Ohio, St. Mary's, Miami. Miami feels safely there. They just beat Virginia Tech at home. Trey Donaldson dropped a career high 32. Missed a free throw at the end, didn't matter. Reminiscent of the Yale upset. But our first 4 game, we have San Diego State, who feels like they are destined for Dayton. And they will take on, I think, someone we could put in the field here, who we talked about, Ohio State.
Ohio State, I think, needs to be in. An interesting line, and I don't know where they're going to come, but I think the American Conference is a respectable conference, and Tulsa has been at the top all year.
They've faltered the last couple. They've dropped some games. I think
Tulsa has?
Yeah, taken off the bubble.
Who did they lose to? I thought they were still winning.
They lost to USF, and then they lost another one that wasn't a great loss. Let me pull them up real quick.
Oh, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about then.
They were really good.
Who'd they put? Oh, wait, no. They lost to Wichita State, right?
So they've lost 3 in a row. They've lost to South Florida, UAB, and Wichita State.
Never mind.
But they felt like a team that was on the bubble.
Never mind.
They are completely off now. They were in our first 4 out, and they are off the bubble.
Tulsa off the bubble. I think Virginia Tech, after getting blown out at home to Florida State, that game pissed me off. You could probably think why it would piss me off. That game pissed me off. I would Virginia Tech, I think, does not deserve that. A home blowout loss to Florida State, who is what's Florida State 5-8 in the ACC.
Yeah. All right. So we are a little short on time here.
14 overall.
So what I want to do here, we'll do our 11 seeds, and then we'll just do our bubble. And that will, if you guys want to see the 12 through 16, check it out on viewsfrom400.com. It'll be out while you're listening to this.
I like it.
All right. So our 10 line, we have Miami of Ohio, Miami of Florida, St. Mary's, and San Diego State taking on Ohio State in the first 4.
I love it. I love Ohio State where we have them.
So now we get to our 11 line, and it's going to have to be either USC or UCLA here. One of them is going to be out of the field, and I think I'm leaning towards USC.
UCLA got blown out on the road.
UCLA's been bad too.
Yeah, that's tough. You look at Santa Clara's there, New Mexico. What have they been doing?
New Mexico's been bad, so we can take them off the bubble.
I don't like Virginia Tech. VCU, TCU. Where are we at with them? I mean, TCU hasn't. I don't think they play in a tough conference. So a shaky record on paper probably looks a lot better than what, if you just take a glance, you're like, oh, this team 500 conference record or barely above 500 overall. And who's their coach? Jamie Dixon?
Yeah. They've been okay. They have some big wins.
He's an old Big East guy.
That Ohio State win, or not Ohio State, that Iowa State win was big.
Huge.
So,
like I said, they're playing a tough conference, like really tough. I think TCU can make a case here, Brad.
Yeah, to open up the 11 line here, just to make 2 go off easy, we have USF winning the American. Obviously, that could be any American champ, but USF has been the best team in the American so far.
No Temple Owls?
Not yet. Maybe next week.
They got to go on a run.
And then we have SMU, who feels safely in the tournament. Maybe they can make a run here in the next couple weeks. So then that leaves us with a first 4 game. And Santa Clara still, even though they lost to Gonzaga, feels like they are safely in the field for now as a first 4 team.
I don't love that loss. I wish they would have. If they beat Gonzaga at home, I would have felt a lot better about them. And they're still a good team. But
if they can win out before the tournament, they're going to be in the field in the first 4. They have a good enough resume. They're a fun team.
Who is their resume?
They have beaten, I want to say they have at least 3 quad 1 wins, which is where you want to be on the bubble.
Yeah. I was going to, what do they have that's going to push them over the edge?
So they have 5 quad 2 wins. They have 1 quad 1 win. They beat St. Mary's.
Great.
They haven't had that many opportunities. So their quad 2 wins, Xavier, Nevada, Minnesota, and Pacific was a quad 2 win. But they're 10-0 in quad 3. They have 1 quad 4 loss to Loyola Chicago, which isn't great. But I feel like this team, they're 40th in net. They're 22-6. They're good enough to be a bubble team.
Fair. All right. What's the 11 line? I know you're like pinched on time here.
Yeah. So we got USF, SMU, Santa Clara in the first 4. And
TCU?
We could throw TCU up there.
I like TCU on the 11 line here, Bri, because 12 you got to save for some of these, mid-major outrights.
Yeah, Santa Clara TCU would be a fun first 4 game. I like that a lot.
That'd be a great first 4.
So then here's our conundrum. We have, you know what we can do? So we have UCLA and USC. I think what we do, USC plays a very good team tonight at home. That team is, hold 1 second, Illinois. If USC can knock off Illinois, if USC loses that game, UCLA is on our 11 line. USC drops to the first 4 out. Chad Baker-Mazara, I think, back for that game for USC.
That helps them a lot.
All right. So that is our 11 line. USF, SMU, Santa Clara taking on TCU in the first 4. I think that game would be a ton of fun.
Fun.
And then UCLA or USC, depending on the result of USC versus Illinois tonight.
I like it.
So real quickly then, our bubble, our last 4 in, we have Santa Clara, TCU, San Diego State, Ohio State. Our first 4 out. So
wait,
Tulsa.
Is Ohio State's on the bubble?
They're in the first 4.
Okay.
Right
Okay.
So our first 4 out, we had Tulsa there. They're kicked to the curb. They're terrible. We had Virginia Tech there. They're kicked to the curb. TCU moved up, so they're out of that. We also have VCU. I think they're still safely in that first 4 out with a chance to move up.
and you're out on Seton Hall.
Well, now we have some spots to fill in our bubble. So we have
And here
VCU.
come the Pirates.
We have VCU.
Just
We
when
have.
you.
Oh, you froze.
No, you're
right.
good. I know it's whatever.
We have VCU. We have the loser of UCLA and USC, whoever doesn't get in the field. So that's 2 in the first 4 out. And I think Seton Hall and Bud Clark, they got to make an appearance back on the bubble as our 3rd team in the first 4 out. And then do we want to go New Mexico, Cal, or Missouri for the last team out?
So, Cal, because I want them in the bracket, and I know they still have some work to do, but having them as the last 4 out is at least having them somewhere other than kick to the curb.
All right, so Cal and Seton Hall back into the bracketology. Sorry, New Mexico, you have fallen off of the bubble. All you Lobos fans out down in the pit are not going to be happy with us. Texas into the field off the bubble, and UCLA, USC, one of them onto the bubble. So chaos in college basketball, just how we like it.
Yeah, and I like where everything stands this year in college basketball compared to last year when kind of just figured the 1 seeds would run away with it, and they did. A little more parity, a little more wide open, still heavy juggernaut in Michigan and some of those other 1 seeds. Arizona's probably still going to be fantastic, but I like where we are, Bri. I like where we are in terms of maybe seeing some Cinderella magic as well.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I can't wait for this to actually come to fruition until we get a bracket.
This is going to be a fun bracket.
It's going to be a lot of fun. But that's the bracketology special. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you want to see it all written out for you, viewsfromsection400.com. That'll be out the same time you're listening to this. And on Monday or on Tuesday, we'll be back to normal programming with Jack, who's missed the last couple of shows here. So I'm sure some people are missing him.
Oh, yeah. We'll be back full squad. Tune in. Hope you guys enjoyed the bracketology. I have a lot of fun doing this. If Brian wasn't cut on time, this could turn into a 2-hour show.
Yes,
So
glad, a 3-hour show.
Glad he had some prior stuff to take care of whatever he's doing. And yeah, we're able to jam pack a nice bracketology special within an hour for you guys. And check out 12 through 16 on viewsfromsection400.com. See all the rest of some sleeper teams that you haven't even heard of before, probably.
Yes, that's the best part of the bracket. That's my most fun.
Is.
We love watching the mid-major conference tournaments come March.
Yeah, we do.
All right, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Peace.